Hi, in this video we're going to be talking about three different suffixes that are sometimes pronounced with a schwa vowel, and sometimes not pronounced with a schwa vowel. So these three suffixes are age, ain, and ate. The issue that students have with these is that they want to pronounce them all ain, age, and eight, but that is not always how they are pronounced. There are different rules for these different suffixes, but let's start with the ain suffix. So most people want to pronounce this like in the word train, right? They want to pronounce it a. But the general rule, because there are exceptions as always, is that when you see ain at the end of a verb, it's pronounced ain, like to maintain, to complain, to explain, to refrain, to remain, etc., etc. But when you see ain at the end of a noun or adjective, it's pronounced in, like the word in something. And this distinction between verbs, the pronunciation of verbs, and the pronunciation of nouns and adjectives is actually something that we find recurring within the English language in other contexts as well, not just with these three suffixes. So uh, let's think of an example. A mountain, yeah, mountain. It's not mountain, right? It's mountain. Also, where is the stress in the word mountain? It's on the first syllable. Whereas in those verbs that we heard earlier, to maintain, to explain, to complain, the stress is on the second syllable. We know that stress can change the way that vowels are pronounced, notably that if you have an unstressed vowel next to a stressed syllable, that unstressed vowel is going to get reduced. And that's kind of what's happened here with mountain. Um, Another word that students often get wrong is fountain. Yeah, it's spelled exactly the same, Fountain, fountain, mountain, fountain. One word that people don't usually get wrong because they usually hear it before they read it is captain. Captain. And you might say, but Jan, there is a verb to captain, like to captain a ship, and that's pronounced exactly the same. Told you there would be exceptions. Um, one word that sort of very nicely illustrates this verb versus noun and adjective situation is the verb to ascertain. Ascertain. To ascertain. To ascertain something is to make sure that that thing is what it is, to make sure that you have the right information. So that's the verb. And you might already be thinking, well, I know what the adjective for that is. It's certain. Yeah? If you're certain about something, you're sure that you know it. We also have the negative version, uncertain, right? So ascertain, certain. Um, Finally, another word that I wanted to just briefly talk about that you might not need to use a lot is one that's kind of like captain, a bargain, une affaire, something that is you find for much cheaper than you would ordinarily find it. The verb is also to bargain. So a captain to captain, a bargain to bargain. Okay, so that's AIN. The AIN is pronounced in words that are nouns or adjectives and two verbs. Then let's move on to the suffix age. This one really gets people because there is the word age, and people think, oh, okay, so if it's age, then every word ending in age is also pronounced age. And that's not true. Sometimes you have words like engage or outrage where the age is pronounced age, but most of the time the age is pronounced idge, like fridge. And I really encourage you to think of the word fridge when you're thinking of these words, because that's a trick that my students find useful when they think of fridge. Okay, they are able to pronounce the word correctly. For example, let's take the word to manage. Yeah, manage. To manage. To manage a fridge, manage fridge. They sound the same. Another one that people often get wrong is a village. Yeah, it's not a village. That doesn't work. It's a village. Notice as well that the stress will never be on the age suffix when it is pronounced idge. The stress will always be before. Another one that people get wrong is vintage. Yeah, if your clothes are from a thrift shop, they're vintage. Another typical one is language. Yeah, it's not language, it's language. Language. What else do we have? Damage. Yeah, to damage something, or there is some damage. Also a message, to send a message. That age is pronounced idge. And also, if you're talking about numbers, there are lots of words ending in idge. So average, percentage. If you're talking about, whether something is good or bad, it might be an advantage or a disadvantage. So yeah, lots of words that sound like idge. Now, we saw words that sound like age, words that sound like idge, but we also have a third category, which is words that sound like age. And that is because these words have been borrowed from French into English more recently, or they've been borrowed at the same time as other words, but for some reason, the pronunciation of those words has not been anglicized, and it's remained closer to the French âge, right? So the first example I'm thinking of is actually, it actually has two possible pronunciations. In British English, people tend to say that you park your car in a garage, whereas in American English, people tend to say you park your car in a garage. See, garage, garage sounds a little bit closer. If you're feeling tense in your shoulders, you might get a massage. If you're very wealthy and people follow you around and they're kind of your friends, but they kind of work for you, you might call them your entourage. Yeah, ton entourage. So yeah, you have some words, fewer, but which sound a little bit more like the French. So for these words, there's not so much of a noun adjective verb distinction. So I really encourage you to look up these words in dictionary if you're going to use them in a presentation or a performance or something like that. Or even in an interview, right? If you're going to an interview and you want to talk about percentages, or you want to talk about the advantages and disadvantages of something, or how you manage your work, or I don't know, even where you come from. Let's say you come from a village somewhere. Look these words up in a dictionary online. I like the Cambridge English Dictionary. Just make sure that you're using the English version, not the English to French or French to English version, and listen to the pronunciations. Finally, we have the suffix ate. So again, This looks like a real word, ate, the past tense of to eat. So you're going to see it and you're going to think, oh, that's ate. I want to pronounce it ate. But here, again, we have a difference between the pronunciation of verbs and the pronunciation of nouns and adjectives. So let me give you an example. When you finish school, in America, when you finish high school, but in other countries, it's more when you finish your university studies. There's a ceremony at the end called graduation. And what you do is you graduate. You graduate. Notice that the stress is on the first syllable. It's not on the last one, but it's still graduate. You graduate. Now, what does that make you? As a person, that means you are a graduate. Graduate. So the sound is not quite like idge, it's not quite like in, it's more ut. And that's what we call the schwa vowel. Okay, it's the sound that you make when you just open your mouth and relax. Uh, uh. It's kind of the smallest sound with the least possible effort that you can make. So you are a graduate. Now, what about if you are at university and you're doing your bachelor's degree? You have not graduated yet, so you are an undergraduate. An undergraduate. And you can use this word as an adjective as well. I'm pursuing my undergraduate studies. Yeah. You can also be in your master's degree or be doing your PhD, and that would make you a postgraduate. Yeah, you've got your undergraduate and your postgraduate. Um, one word that nicely illustrates the difference between the verbs and the nouns versus the adjectives, just like to graduate a graduate, is the verb to intimate something. To intimate something means to suggest something, whereas the adjective intimate means close to, in a personal relationship. So yeah, to intimate, intimate. We also have the noun baccalaureate. Again, at the end of your studies in high school, in a lot of countries, you take the baccalaureate. So that's ATE at the end, but it is ut. Yeah, essentially, that is all I have to say about these suffixes. Please think about how you are pronouncing these words, look them up in a dictionary if you're not sure, and remember the tricks, okay? For in, it's the word in. For idge, it's the word fridge. For ut, it kind of sounds a little bit like but. Yeah, it's not quite the same, but it's very, very close. Okay, thanks for watching.